Hey everyone, it's Andy's Free Guitar Chart Videos. This is the second half of our lesson this week on chart number 500, and it's been a little while, so I went ahead with chart 501, which is Long Modal Cages, caged short TRI-PENTS, 1, 4, 5 TRI-PENTS. So what we're doing here is, and I know we were talking about the low Korean cage, and it's really not far away. It's at chart 500. Long modal tripentatonics, chord shaped circles for long modal cages. Now that's the value of this, but I want to draw your attention to, let's say, the Dorian fretboard. So what the Dorian fretboard really is, as opposed to anything such as its parent fretboard, which would be the Lydian fretboard here, is that the chord triad is 2-4-6, whereas in the Lydian it's 4-6 root. So that's the only difference. If I went ahead and now we have GLE here, this is a half of a G position into an E minor position, a G minor shaped D minor in a key of C, and an E minor shaped D minor in the key of C. So I'm also showing the 2-4-6, 2-4-5-6 root pentatonic. If I went ahead and got rid of the fives, we got rid of the root, we'd be left with the chord arpeggios, but you wouldn't be able to see the structure. So we kind of have to pick them out of the pentatonic here in the second minor, 2-4-6. So it would be 2-4-6, 2-4-6, 2, and then you would have your E minor right here, 6-2-4. So even in that first Ionian cage, remember this is the Ionian cage here. Okay, so on my guitar, root down here, root C is way down here. Okay, with your tuning, it's up here. That's because I tuned my guitar down. And so I have a C-shaped, an E-shaped C here. So looking at the second minor here, we're in the same box. So this is how this chart works. We have the same boxes. We have the Ionian box. Let's use drawing tool. Let's get yellow. Over here, this is all the Ionian box right here. We have the 7 modes in this root box here: root 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, root 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, root 2, 3, 4. That is the long Ionian cage, as I call it. And then next door is the Mixolydian, and that would be extended on down there. We've got a little bit thick on the lineage here, so then we'd have the Mixolydian set right here. Okay, and so forth. The Dorian set is right here. So what's the difference between this Dorian fretboard and this Dorian box that is on the Ionian fretboard? Well, let's face it, the guitar is only going to be about, see, like a guitar, like if you see a reddish, like woody color, that's my guitar color. The guitar is only going to be about, what, up to here? Mine's only from root, and then we have root here, and then we have a fifth here. Okay, so let's get rid of the squaring off here and just look at the Ionian fretboard once again. So we've got root to root and to this fifth here. That's about it for this little guitar. Okay, everything else is hypothetical, so we just roll it out, roll it out, roll it out, and then we can find our Dorian here. We can find our Aeolian here. The difference is, and this is very important, the difference is in the Ionian fretboard. Okay, now of course in your root key, the root key would be Ionian root. You can play the diatonic. Alright, so we'll just bop back to 500 here, actually back to 499, where we have a nice diatonic here. And this would be the diatonic Ionian, and then the diatonic Mixolydian. We would be starting on the 5. See, that would be the key of G if we played a major scale. So this can be played diatonic. The root mode you can play diatonic. So if you're any of the modes that you're starting on in that root keyboard or fretboard, you just play the diatonic from there. So we've started on, say, Phrygian here. We can play the diatonic from there. 3, 4, 5. Now we're going to go up here in the short. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, root 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, root 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? The difference between this Ionian fretboard and the Dorian fretboard is very important. But really, if we go to 501, you'll see it a little easier. Here's the Ionian fretboard in the middle now. The difference between this major fretboard, this is the root key fretboard, is we have the root pentatonic. Root 2, 3, 5, 6. Root 2, 3, 5, 6. Root 2, 3, 5, 6. Okay? So here is in the white keys, we just have root 2, 3, 5, 6. That's the Ionian fretboard as we go through the different boxes. Now, of course, you could take this Mixolydian box here. This is the long in the red here. Up here is the short. But in the modal, I like to start on the number. You could take that and move it down here, okay, and say that root is the fifth of, so if this is your C note here, that would be then change it to the key of F. But the rollout keeps it in the key of C. So this is the difference. Here's the whole rollout on the Ionian. Looking at the Ionian fretboard. Everything is root 2, 3, 5, 6 on the Ionian fretboard. But we can do a Mixolydian box on the Ionian fretboard. Everything on the Ionian fretboard can be played diatonically. We can do a diatonic on the root fretboard. We can do any diatonic starting from the modal numbers as long as we follow the diatonic of the root scale. So in Dorian it would be, I can even go into the short. Now this is a nice feature of the newest chart that I've made, that I have the old charts. So if we just square off this purple square here, right here, that's the modal cage for the Dorian. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then we go into the long with the diatonic. 7. But the 7 isn't in the root pentatonic. Root 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, then we can just do play away 7, root 2, 3, 4, 5. So we've played away into the C here, right there. Now the interesting thing about guitar is it's easy to get confused when you're trying to explain it. But it's impossible to stay confused with the guitar. So that's the important thing. So in this chart here, what I've done is I have the short positions here. Now the G position right here for pentatonic is 6 root 2 3 5 6 root 2 3 5 6 root. If we go up, and that means move the pattern up, we're going to move this G to the second string here. But it's not, we're not going to move the G there, because that note's going to stay what that note is. And the G is a B flat, is where the B flat is. So that note doesn't change. We're just hypothetically going to move it up. And the reason why I put these next to each other is important. The fourth of G is C. So we move the G pentatonic up, and it starts here now. 2, 2, 4, 5, 6, root 2, 4, but you don't have to worry about the numbers anymore. It's still 6, root 2, 3, 5, 6, root 2. It's still your G pentatonic. It's just starting from the second string now. So here's the regular G pentatonic. Okay, this is the G short from up here, starting on the 6. Here's the A, key of C. Now if we move that up, we're just going to take that pattern and move it up. So here we have a short and 3 longs. We move it up. Here's our a long and 3 shorts here. Okay, this is a short compared to extra long, right? Compared to the 5, 6, 7s, root 2, 3s, and 4, 5, 6s. Those are longs. But we have a long compared to our short here, so we move it up. So we have a long and 3 shorts right here, this little square. We have our long and 3 shorts, but now we had to move the top of the square up because of the tuning third, where root goes to 3, and down in these other strings, root goes to 4 here, root goes to 4 on this string, root goes to 4 on this string, top string, root goes to 4, but root goes to 3 in between the G string and the B string. We don't have that shown up there, but we have it down here, the G string and the B string. We have root goes to 3 there.